Well, so it's already 4:30 p.m. Nigeria, and we would like to formally start as we get more participants to join this session of PEEF virtual talk. My name is Musa Rabiu. I'm Dr. Rabiu, the Executive Secretary of People, Expertise and Excellence Foundation, PEEF. So you are all welcome to this session. This is our third session of the PEEF virtual talk. We had the first session in January, and Engineer Moshood, who just spoke, was our first guest speaker. The focus was on the hydrocarbon life cycle, and we had an excellent session with key recommendations made to the federal government. Copies of the reports were shared with the two ministers of state for petroleum and for oil, petroleum, oil, and for gas, and a copy is sent to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The second session featured Dr. Maina, Junaidu Maina, retired veterinarian general of Nigeria, and the focus was on the livestock sector. Again, our recommendations have been shared with the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development. This is our third session. So to kick off, I would like to introduce our moderator, our esteemed moderator, who is going to pilot this session and guide us on how the session will be conducted. It is my singular honor and pleasure to introduce Professor Adebisi Olatinwo, who is Vice President for Information Technology at Hampton University in Virginia, USA. Dr. Adebisi Olatinwo earned his Doctor of Science degree in 1987, a Master's of Science degree 84 in Materials Engineering from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. And he earned the Bachelor's of Science degree in Engineering Physics, Material Science in 1980 from the University of Ife, Nigeria. He just told me he did his NYC at ABU, Department of Physics. Dr. Olatinwo also received a certificate in higher education management from Harvard University in 2006. He is a certified mobile application developer and a certified IT service management professional, ITIL. He has designed, developed, and implemented computer applications for self-paced learning and distance learning as a faculty. Dr. Olatinwo is a co-author of 3 engineering textbooks in computer-aided design, has published and presented his work at national conferences. He has served as a technical reviewer for the National Science Foundation, NSF, the U.S. Department of Education, and the U.S. Department of Commerce. He has consulted for companies such as International Business Machines, IBM, Lucent Technologies, and Motorola Incorporated, in the area of pervasive computing, wireless navigation systems, and mobile smart agent development. He was one of the 26 scientists and engineers selected nationwide to serve as a member of an inaugural NSF advisory boards on cyber infrastructure. Dr. Olatinwo is a winner of the Talk Good Marshall Technology and Communications Leadership Award. He is currently serving as Professor of Engineering and the Vice President for Information Technology at Hampton University, Hampton, Virginia. Prior to joining the Hampton University family, he worked at Morgan State University as the Vice President for Technology and CIO for 9 years, and at Norfolk State University, Norfolk, Virginia, as the inaugural Vice President for Research and Technology for 7 years, then as the Chief Information Officer for another 4 years at the same institution. Prior to joining Norfolk State University, he worked at Hampton University for 13 years, where he progressed through the ranks, becoming the Assistant Dean of the School of Engineering and Technology. Dr. Olatinwo took a leave of absence in 2008 to serve as the Chief Technology Advisor to the Governor of Rivers State Government of Nigeria. He provided oversight on the development and design of a science and technology innovation park in Rivers State. This park envisioned diversification of the state's economy from oil and gas into technology. The breadth and depth of Dr. Olatinwo's knowledge, experience, skills, and expertise endow him a unique perspective on how to create and grow a first-class program and build meaningful and sustainable relationships with others. It is my great honor to present to you Professor Olatinwo, the moderator for this PVT session. Please join me to welcome him warmly to take charge of this session.
Thank you, Dr. Musa Rabiu, Executive Secretary, People Expertise Experience Foundation, and your team for organizing this family talk. And I call it family talk because we've come to talk to the family in advancing Nigeria in this sector. The topic has been mentioned. It says the role of PEEF in advancing Nigeria's ICT and digital economy. But I will underscore that this role is not only for PEEF, it includes you and I, the moderator, because it takes more than one person to do this, or group to do this work. The guest speaker will clarify the following key concepts. So please pay key attention to the following when he presents. Note down the definitions of ICT and digital economy, while he makes a very clear distinction, important distinction between both terms. He's going to present lots of interesting data to quantify and undergird the strategies proposed for the advancement of the sector in Nigeria. He will also explore the challenges and opportunities in the sector, especially in the areas of infrastructure, digital literacy, regulation, startup success stories, and future projections, the economic impact. So I want you to pay key attention to those key knowledge. Before we continue, let me just mention the logistics for some housekeeping for this session. The session itself will be about 90 minutes long, and it could be shorter than 90 minutes, with the speaker present for about 60 minutes. But we shall have a Q&A at the end, but you are welcome to place your questions in the chat room or your comments as the presentation proceeds. I also ask to please adhere to the professional rule of engagement. So let's be respectful and courteous in our dialogue. Participants are expected to raise their virtual hand when they have questions so they can be recognized by me. And also, we'll ask you to unmute your mic at that point in time. But throughout the presentation, I recommend that we mute our mics until needed. We ask that you go straight to your question and avoid being long-winded and too many pleasantries, so we can avail more participants the opportunity to ask questions. Let's not be repetitive, e.g. asking a question that's already been answered. With that said, I welcome you all on behalf of PEEF to this conversation. Now, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce the guest speaker and a friend of mine. His bio is so lengthy, we can spend the entire 60 minutes of his talk time going through it. Actually, when I did the second read this morning, Dr. Olatinwo, I just noticed that you and I play chess. And all these years that I've known you, I didn't know that. So awesome, awesome discovery. But for the sake of time, I present to you Dr. Taofeeq Olatinwo, who is a seasoned professional, an educator par excellence, executive leader, mentor, coach, and youth empowerment advocate with over 30 years of diverse global and local experience. His professional journey spans multinational companies such as Shell International, Hewlett-Packard, innovation, ICT leadership, entrepreneurship, and capacity development for young adults. Currently, he is the head of ICT and business process operations at the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company. Also, is a generous individual as he opened his hub, innovation hub in Abuja for us to use in training as a training center. When I say us, there are a group of Nigerians in diaspora that came home in 2016, 2017, and 2019 to do a free training workshop for youth of Nigeria. And he opened up his home and his shops for us to do these workshops. So I thank you on behalf of my group, Dr. Olatinwo. So with that said, I welcome Dr. Olatinwo to take the stage and educate us and advise us on how to proceed and how can we all have a role to play in advancing Nigeria in the ICT sector. Dr. Olatinwo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Adebisi Olatipo, my brother. And thank you so much, the Executive Secretary of PEEF, Dr. Musa Rabiu, for setting this for us. Really appreciate. And to the audience, I say good evening in Nigeria, good morning in the US and Canada, and a good evening or early morning in Asia. It's my pleasure to present to you today the role of PEEF in enhancing ICT and digital economy in Nigeria. PEEF, we all know it stands for People Expertise and Excellence Foundation. And this subject is huge, it's massive, and it also provides a lot of opportunities for Nigerians, for the youth, for our economy, and for the way forward in terms of the growth of the nation. Now, let's take a step at a time into going into it. I hope you can all see my screen. So I'm going to go on to start with the presentation. So this presentation explores and highlights the role of PEEF in enhancing ICT and digital economy in Nigeria. This is very crucial as it's beginning to play a major role in the growth of the nation. But before we start, we have to understand the definitions around ICT and digital economy. It's the economic activity resulting from billions of online connections among the entities, that's the people, the businesses that people are doing, the data they're using to do the business, the devices that is connecting everybody, and all these underlying processes that's being used. And it changes every time, every day. So by ICT, we're talking about information communication technology that we use in managing and exchanging information, while digital economy encompasses the activities that result from the billions of online connections amongst all the various entities that we mentioned earlier on. And essentially, this has got the potential for massive growth, economic growth. It would improve the governance and enhance the quality of life for the citizens of Nigeria. We can say this is a motherhood statement, but essentially that's what it's all about. And that's why it's very critical that we pay attention to this, that we see it as something that we need to really participate in. And when I say we, that's for PEEF, as well as all the people listening today, that we can take the message forward to all the other people as well. So what's the size of the pie? What are we really talking about? We're looking at a massive opportunity for growth in our economy for Nigeria. We see this as contributing immensely, hugely to the GDP of Nigeria, and we're aiming to have about 21% in revenue by 2026. This is a statement coming from the Minister of Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani. He made this statement in May 2025, this year. And what does this translate to in terms of hard value? That's $18.3 billion that digital economy will be contributing to our economy. Currently, it's contributing about 16 to 18%. And how is we going to be able to do this? It's going to be fueled by massive investment in infrastructure, that is, having about 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables to boost internet access nationwide. 90,000 kilometers. Let's think about it for a moment. The circumference of the Earth is 40,075 kilometers. So if we're going to provide fiber optic cables of 90,000, this translates to going around the Earth 2 times at least. And this is massive. This is great. This is huge. And that's the goal. And that's how to boost the internet access in Nigeria. Now, let's look at the digital landscape, setting the scene. Presently, the mobile market is, we've got about 219 million subscribers with a tele-density of 101%. This translates to saying that we have more mobile devices, subscribers, than the population. And thanks to everybody on the call, I know at a minimum we'll have at least 2.
This side of this side. We have extensive experience with the Bluey 109.
So we recognize that we've got at least, people having more than 2, at least more than 1 mobile phones. We subscribe hugely into it. In terms of the internet access, we've got about 163 million Nigerians having internet access with a broadband penetration of 43.5%. Again, this is really massive, this is huge, and this is something that we need to take advantage of because it's growing and people are beginning to use it extensively. Now, for the economic activities, we have people using it extensively in the telecommunications industry, publishing, media production, broadcasting, Nollywood people, markets people, and all various sort of people. In terms of having, the financial inclusion, it's growing in Nigeria every day. And I can say authoritatively that Nigeria is one of the most active when it comes to the usage of financial applications in the world. Now, for the operators, we all know we've got the players there, MTN, Globacom, Airtel, 9Mobile. These are the ones driving the economic activities that we are building upon. So they are the foundation for us, the infrastructure that is required to grow the digital economy. And in terms of the unicorns, the organizations, the companies that have been able to take advantage of this, we've got Flutterwave, well-known, huge players, Jumia, Andela, InterSwitch. We all know them, and these are all Nigerian companies that have been able to tap into the unicorn level. That means their capitalization, or perhaps the over $1 billion. When we take it to Naira, that's like 1 trillion Naira and above, which is, really, really great. Can we have more of this? Yes, and that's what we are trying to say. How do we all participate in this? How do we grow the economy? How do we ensure that the youth have more opportunities, growth, areas for them to take things forward? Now, that's like setting the scene and looking at the landscape. In terms of the the strategy and the program that has been put in place by the government. We've got about 8 pillars for these. We've got the developmental regulation, and that's coming from the organizations responsible for these in the public sectors. And digital literacy and skills, these are the underlying things that we need to have in place to ensure we're able to tap into the digital economy, the solid infrastructure, talked about the fiber optics, the broadband, and all the other things, as well as the service infrastructure, the services that the infrastructure, the soft infrastructure that's going to be like the usage itself, and the society and emerging technologies, then the indigenous content. Overall, we'd like to have more of local content coming out of all of these. And that's why it's important that we build on the digital literacy as well as the developmental regulations coming out of Nigeria. So we've got 8 pillars, and these 8 pillars are what would serve as the foundation in terms of moving forward. Now, if we try to compare, we've got the traditional economy, the way people used to do things in the past, and the digital economy, what we are doing now with internet access, with ICT. If you look at the left side of the screen, the blue area, you see the factories, the regular factories where people go to from 9 to 5. You see people going to the shops like Balogun Market in Lagos, or markets in Wuse in Abuja and other places like that. Physical and very, very manual of doing things. We've got the regular newspapers, we've got the schools and the textbooks that people read every day. Commuting, people hike on taxis, buses, and the likes. Then before, if you have to get cash, you have to go to the bank to collect the money. If you look at all of these on the left side and you look at the right side, things are changing. Now we have e-banking, we have e-learning, we have the e-books, we have working from home. So most organizations, even before COVID, they started working from home like one or 2 days in a week. Then during COVID, everybody was working from home. Now after COVID, we still continued, trying to manage things, and this has really helped in terms of, the time efficiency as well as the cost, whereby you do not have to commute and you don't have to spend so much money in traffic. And all of these are possible because of the underlying infrastructure from ICT and the digital economy. So e-payment, cashless society, website development, all of these are, new skills, new opportunities that are growing based on digital economy that we are talking about. Now that's just to lay the foundation and show the differences between traditional economy and the digital economy. If we move on to even have further definitions, because we've got, what we'll consider to be new business models. If you look at the left side of the screen, you see the new business models, and the right side, emerging technologies. And I'm going to talk about those two in a bit. But what are the key defining trends? The dominance of the digital business models. So everything is around digital, building your applications or solutions. We are providing new experience services, things like POS, and when you get to the bank or whatever you go to, you have to now register properly, not just stay on the line or in the queue and start getting paper line number. So things are changing very quickly, and also the rise of industry ecosystem. And you can see the key enablers at the bottom, the regulations. I talked about the 8 pillars previously. These are all the key enablers. And I'm going to come back to it, particularly in terms of the skills requirements, because we can provide all of these infrastructure. If people don't know how to use them, it's all useless. So on the new business models, we've got the fintech, we have the digital government, e-governance, e-Nigeria, e-commerce. We've got a trade market. Example, you can buy things through Jumia or Andela or whatever, or even through the Amazon. Even though you're in Nigeria, you can buy things without even seeing the people you're buying from, and they get delivered to your doorstep, or you just collect it from wherever. We've got the ride hailing. We've got in Nigeria Bolt in place. We have Uber and all the likes now, different from the regular yellow cab taxis and the buses, the molars that we used to have. And so these are the changes that are occurring on a daily basis. based on the IT infrastructure and the digital economy that we beginning to build on. And we all know the emerging technologies, the 5G, everybody's talking about that now. Internet of Things, cloud computing. Now the new kid on the block, artificial intelligence, where they mix everything up now. You have somebody that is able to mimic your voice, and it's just endless. Things are growing. On top of it, there is the cybersecurity aspect. Again, is an area where we're beginning to pay more attention now. Before it used to be physical security, now it's cybersecurity we're talking about. Then robotics, where robots are taking over some of the things that human beings used to do. So these are the emerging technologies. Now, moving on, what are the benefits of the digital economy? Number one, transparency. It's very transparent. You have all the information captured, and people would know exactly what you like to do and where you're going to. Then it contributes immensely to economic growth because of the efficiency, because of the speed, because of the effectiveness, and we can all attest to that. Then it helps in expanding the business opportunities, all the things that you never knew before that you could do, all the areas where you couldn't reach before. Technology can reach those places. You have customers all over the world now. You're not restricted to just your local environment. So you're expanding the business such that you have more opportunities, you have more people that you can reach, you have more areas you can cover. You can sit down in your room and be selling all the things that you can sell your old things and buy new ones, or even create things. And it's creating new jobs as well, for sure. So we have people that are doing like 3 or 4 different types of jobs at the same time. And it's only possible because of the technology that is available at their disposal now. Now, it improves public services. I'm sure we all are aware of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms that we have in Nigeria. It's all building it on top of digital literacy that is ongoing. And this is an area where PEEF can also play. I'm going to come back to that. The rising e-commerce is growing. We have all we've got things like Jumia, I talked about it. We have AWS, that's Amazon. We have all in both locally and internationally. So it keeps growing every day. Then digital delivery of goods. We talked about the ride hailing. We talked about people delivering stuff for us at home. And I was just reading about last week that one of the organizations responsible for delivering foods, they made an estimate that one local food service provider in Lagos has been able to generate a revenue of more than 2.3 billion naira. If you look at it, it's really huge, it's massive. You've never think about it that this could be possible. But again, these are some of the opportunities that we have. And the lady is just simply selling amala with abula that we all know, with pomo, but this is an area where things are really growing. Before, you would have to go there to the mama and sit down and eat your food. Before you can go home, you pay. And you can imagine if all the customers have to go there would never be enough space. But now people are able to buy things online, and they have the delivery services right there to deliver at their doorstep. Still very hot, retaining the quality and not losing any value at all. Yeah. And overall inclusiveness, it helps for the empowerment of marginalized communities. Now we have services being provided into the rural areas, all thanks to the digital economy that keeps growing every day. So these are the key benefits. They have much more than that, but again, we've got to put things in perspective. So let's look at, because there's nothing that would have benefits without the downside. So I talked about the pros earlier on, benefits for developing world, that's like Nigeria, greater flexibility in working, enabling people to work from home, lower barriers to entry. Almost everybody is doing it now. It's not like you have to have the amount of money before you can do it. Then there's a greater level of personalization. Then it's reduced cost for business. You can do your business even using the regular social media. Some people are selling their things on Instagram, creating content, doing a lot in terms of TikTok or even Facebook businesses, and they are able to make a lot of money from that. It saves time in traffic, everything at your home, at your convenience, and to your doorstep, and greater information and choice. If you want to confirm what I'm saying now, you quickly just go to the internet to confirm, and you get a lot of information through AI. So you've got greater information and more opportunities, more choices that you can pick and choose from. Now, on one side, which is the cons, the monopoly power of tech giants, and we see it at times. For example, the big boys trying to corner artificial intelligence, or even the cryptocurrency environment. So there's also the less community, addictive nature of technology. We're all aware that if you give too much to the students or to the pupils and they go to school, they end up doing a lot on the social media rather than facing what they need to do. Also, we talked about privacy issues, and this is where cybersecurity comes in. Because of the transparency, privacy also becomes an issue. You can't have it all, so we've got to be mindful of that. People have a way of bypassing, the law, particularly labor law. So if you're not careful, you're going to be abused in terms of putting too much time into the work. If you work from home and you do regular 8 to 4, if you're not careful, you end up doing like 24/7 if you're working from home. This is an area where one has to be very mindful. And disruption to traditional economy and jobs, then potential environmental costs because of the more you work on ICT, the more energy that you use, and all the other things that would come with it. So challenges and opportunities. Of course, we've got challenges and we've got opportunities with respect to digital economy. In Nigeria is the infrastructure, and we talked about it earlier on when looking at the landscape. We recognize that infrastructure is still a major area, but again, it provides the growth for the economy. Then digital literacy is a key area that we need to look at. Improving the literacy of our people is essential to ensure that citizens can fully participate in this digital economy. Without the literacy, then the usage becomes really poor, and infrastructure is meaningless. So these are the areas where we see the opportunities, and I'm going to come back to that in terms of where PEEF can play a major role. Then the regulatory framework, the policy, the strategy, and the framework of how to promote investment and innovation in this economy. The area it's a challenge on one hand, and it's an opportunity on the other hand. So what we'd like to do is to take advantage of the challenges and turn them into opportunities. Okay, so I'm now going to go a bit into what I see as where PEEF can play a major role in enhancing the digital economy in Nigeria. And I'm going to be looking at the ecosystem and the advocacy role that PEEF will be playing here. I'm going to start this slide by saying DE stands for digital economy and the startup ecosystem. And this is for the startup of new organizations, new companies, focusing a lot more on the youth for empowerment, for incubation and acceleration. And I'm going to start from the top left corner here, where it's talking about the support organization. So let's make an assumption now. And I'm looking at having an organization that is ready to incubate the startups. So this is an area where PEEF can help, having the startups there, then taking them into large corporations. I'm going to use the example of the large corporations I know, talking about Shell International, talking about NNPC, talking about Mobile, and talking about even the financial institutions like Access, Zenith, First Bank, UBA, and the likes. Also, the collaboration with the universities, the academia, is very critical because we know this is an area where we have the youth coming out from, and we need to prepare them. By engaging the universities right from the onset, at least there'll be a path for these youth that they can see clearly right from school without going in the wrong way. Then we also need to help in terms of the funding organizations And I'm going to come back to all of these to demonstrate, to give examples of all of these as we move on. Service providers, e.g. legal services, financial services, and all the regular services we have in organizations, very critical as part of the ecosystem, and research organizations, similar to the universities as well. These are all linked together in the ecosystem. And this is going to go on with ideation, inventions, research, the startups, going through their various stages and phases. Entrepreneurship, very critical. Without entrepreneurs, we cannot have companies or businesses thriving. And then the startup team members, building them up together, linking them to investors, the mentors, the advisors, and all the people related to the organizations. So this is a kind of ecosystem, and that's a kind of what's going to be used as a guiding principle when we want to look at where we can play a role in supporting the digital economy and the youth in Nigeria. And I'm going to show this pyramid. The pyramid is important so as to see it's a bottom-up kind of thing. I'm going to start from the desired goal. So we desire to have an outcome of successful digital economy. Then I'll go to the bottom and start looking at, okay, who are the people that will play the major role in doing this? I kind of bold in these to show the quality of education from junior secondary school to senior secondary school, focused on digital skills and STEM. This is very critical. The more we're able to do this, the less problems we're going to have in getting to the desired goals. Because these are the people that will form the bulk of people going to the public sectors and also the leadership for the country. So this is an area where we need to pay a lot more attention. And it's a no-brainer for us to start building on this. Looking at the public sector, talked about the Bureau of Public Service Reforms that is ongoing. Again, that's so very critical for PEEF to step into that area. Existing broadband infrastructure, we need to build more. I talked about it. The minister already mentioned that he would like to do it up to 90,000 kilometers, which is 2 times the circumference of the earth. And the culture of the people, the attractiveness, and the public safety and all the other things. And by the time we roll all of these up, we get into the realms where we have quality digital employment with wealth creation through local entrepreneurship. I talked about the startups. So if we're able to do this across board, then we'll get to the desired outcome of a successful digital economy. And this is the pyramid that we always look at when we start working with from the grassroots all the way to the desired goal for us. And for public sectors, just to mention very clearly, the playing a major role here. Government is investing heavily in ICT infrastructure. They try as much as possible to promote digital literacy and to create supportive policies and regulatory framework. I'm talking about the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation, and Digital Economy. They've been sponsoring quite a lot of activities in the last couple of years, and they just need to do more. National IT Development Agency, that's NITDA. They're also in this bracket. They've been doing a lot in terms of starting, innovation hubs for the country. And the NCC, National Nigerian Communication Commission, of course, we know they regulate all the infrastructure people. They regulate MTN, Nine Mobile, Airtel, and Globacom and the others. The NIGCOMSATs also play a major role there, Galaxy Backbone, and I must mention CBN, because of all the regulatory frameworks around the financial inclusion. And it goes on and on. There are more, but I just would like to highlight a few examples so that we would know the direction we're going. Here, I'm just showing that we also have organizations that are bringing together, and this is an NGO, Innovation Support Network, where all the major innovation hubs in Nigeria, they've come together. And this picture showed one of the activities where this was one of the conferences we had about 2-3 years ago. And the list of the ops you can see at the back of the startups, and myself in the middle here, as you can see, amongst the youth. Okay, and here I'm also showcasing. This is Professor Olatinwo, by the way, the moderator. He was together with us in Abuja in 2018-2019 to train youth in Abuja. In fact, the youth came from all over the country. We had about almost 500 youth that came together at Harmony Innovation Hub So Professor Olatinwo, given his wealth of experience, and we formed several groups at that time. And I think this is a very laudable program that PEEF can also tap into. So let's look at how Nigeria is doing at the global level when it comes to startups. So we've got about 10 cities listed. And this is a very recent report that came out about a month ago. And Lagos is leading in terms of the startups around ICT. Then Abuja is next. And globally, Lagos ranked 76. You can see Abuja next, second in Nigeria, but 399th position globally. We've got Ibadan, Enugu, Harcourt, and we've got a new entrants like Ilori, Kaduna, and Nguru. Very impressive. You can see, and they're actually moving up the ladder. For example, Abuja jumped like 48 steps on the ladder, but this is going to continue growing as we move on. And I'm sure with PEEF stepping in now, we're going to have more of Nigerian cities fall into this bracket. So just to give an idea of where we are. In terms of the unicorns, and I'm just looking at, for Africa, Nigeria's got about 6 to 7 of the unicorns out of from the first 10. It's just interesting to note that all of them are in the fintech environment, apart from Mandela, which is doing a lot in terms of talent markets. So for these companies, that means their valuation is above $1 billion, and this is massive. So InterSwitch, Flutterwave, OPay, we've got Andela, and we've got other ones that are coming up now. So this is really very great for Nigeria. In terms of the fintech companies, I have all of this listed. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to skip it and move on to the next slide, which is now looking at PropTech. We've got different areas. We've got the fintech. Now PropTech is, these are companies looking essentially at property technology in West Africa. Most of the companies here also belong to Nigeria. For example, Hotstruct, we've got Dominion, we've got House Africa, which actually came out of Harmony Innovation Hub in Abuja. And we've got some other ones too, small. They're almost all the Nigerian companies. So agri-tech, we know some of us are into agriculture, but we also have the companies that are providing agricultural technology as startups. Rural Farmers Hub came out of Harmony Innovation Hub, Thrive Agri, Agromore, Hello Tractor, and the likes. So we've got all of these, and they are providing innovative digital solutions to the agricultural sector in Nigeria. So we've also have the examples in the digital health companies, Helium Health, LifeBank, Reliance, and we've got MyClinic, again, another startup that came out of Harmony Innovation Hub in Abuja. MyClinic is now they have the partnership with some banks, and they're providing HMO, which is the health maintenance organization. So all of these to raise huge funds. $10 million for Helium, $9 million for LifeBank, $6 million for Reliance MO. And MyClinic is also raising quite a lot of money, funding for growth in their area of operations. In terms of the investors in Africa, we've got investors now coming to Africa, particularly to Nigeria, because they've seen the growth. They've seen the vibrant youth. They've seen the growth in the economy. And for example, we have Launch Africa, which they do deal per week in Africa, in Nigeria now. Partech, they're doing quite a lot. Y Combinator, these are all coming from Silicon Valley, and they're looking for where to put their money, because they can see the growth in the youth in Nigeria. Lofty Inc. is there, Techstars, Future Africa, and Verod Kepo. And I must also mention that we have quite a lot of our startups that are beginning to say Japa. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Countries are beginning to issue what I would say the startup visa for these startups. For example, one of the startups that are incubated, Trade Lender, just moved to Canada. They got a startup visa, to go and continue what they're doing in Canada, and some of them are doing some similar things. In fact, the organizations like Flutterwave, and they all went there and came back, and that's actually good for us, because when they come back, they use the knowledge and the funding for the growth of our economy. Now, actually now at the end of the presentation, recommendations and conclusion. As we've talked about, I've looked at all the things right from the setting the scene, the digital landscape. We've looked at the 8 pillars. We've looked at the statistics of all the key players in the ecosystem. We've talked about the pyramid of the digital economy and how things roll up from the base of the pyramid all the way to the goal, successful outcome of digital economy. We've looked at the all the key startups, the unicorns, and we've looked at the ecosystem where PEEF can play a major role in advocacy and other things. Now, the recommendation is for PEEF to actively participate in the ecosystem, influencing the key stakeholders through the 8 pillars of the digital economy. And when I say the 8 pillars, we're looking at the infrastructure, the regulatory arm of it. Then we're also talking about the digital literacy that is required to get more people to be able to use the ICT, the technology, and to transform their knowledge and ideas into solutions for economic growth. And for PEEF also to select the areas of strength along the line of key elements for advocacy and implementation. For example, we've got the Bureau of Public Sectors Reform. This is an area where PEEF can really step in and start looking at how to help the public sector, these service providers, in developing and growing the digital economy and looking at the policy, the strategy, and the framework for the nation. And in conclusion, Nigeria's ICT and digital economy have made significant progress, and still we've got a huge potential for growth and development in terms of moving forward. And I thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Olatinwo. Please join me in thanking him greatly for a nice presentation. To me, he touched on a lot of points, which I'm going to summarize right now before we start asking questions. So PEEF, when I look at the word PEEF, it starts with people. Expertise, experience come next. So it's all about people, all of us on this talk, and those who are not even here, that we plan to share key nuggets from the presentation with. Dr. Olatinwo also emphasized that Nigeria is Africa's largest mobile market with 219 million mobile subscribers. And he mentioned that that translates into a tele-density of 101%. That's more active mobile lines than people. I mean, when you stop and think about that for a moment, that is huge. Nigeria is a big player in the digital economy. And he also mentioned the major players are telecommunications companies like MTN, Globalcom, Airtel, and Nine Mobile. But what really caught my attention is the $18.3 billion of target economic impact for digital economy by 2026. And he also mentioned that 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable is being planned for throughout the nation. And that translates to about twice the circumference of the Earth. That is huge. I'll ask that if you're not speaking, please mute your mic. Thank you. Dr. Olatinwo highlighted 8 pillars of digital economy foundations to enable Nigeria to move forward. And he clearly defined trends, new business models like the fintechs and e-services. Also, on the other side of the key trends is the emerging technologies, 5G, Internet of Things, cloud computing, AI, deep fake, cybersecurity, and robotics, and mixed into that is machine learning. So there's a whole lot in the pot that's getting mixed together for a brilliant digital economy future. You also mentioned the benefits of digital economy, which translates to expanded markets. You're no longer bound by location for commerce, job creation, etc. You said something that is close to my heart, which is the mama put, sell amala and abula with momo. You can tell I miss Nigerian food. I'm here eating burger. So that resonated with me. So basically, you have an opportunity for everyone because of digital economy. But I must say also, even with the 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable, there's still room for improvement in internet capabilities. There remains some challenges which he mentioned in the area of infrastructure, power, reliable clean power supply. Digital literacy, how can people effectively utilize the services if they are not trained? So he made that very clear that we need digital literacy to complement the infrastructure. We also need supportive regulatory environment to attract investment, local and foreign. And you mentioned that PEEF has a major role to play in all of these three challenges: to be a strong advocate, to have focused education at the foundation level, from JSS, SSS, all across the board. And he made that comments also in his conclusion. So PEEF and all of us listening, we have a role. So with that, those nuggets, hopefully they will ginger your questions. But let me tee up the questions and answers with my own questions. So let me apologize, Dr. Olatinwo, ahead of time, that some of these questions, I think I have an answer, an idea of the answers, but I ask them anyways for the benefit of others. My first question to you, sir, regarding the $18.3 billion GDP contribution, are these projections realistic, and what are the underlying assumptions?
So do you want me to answer the questions right away, or you want to?
If you want to do that, because I'm just going to ask two questions, or do you want to ask the second question? You answer both.
Okay. So let's have the two questions, then I'll answer them.
Let me ask you the second question. How are efforts being made to improve digital literacy across different demographics in Nigeria? Take those two questions for now.
All right. So thank you very much, Prof. Olatinwo. Very good questions. Myself, I asked the question, I was asking myself that question, the first one about the 18.3 billion. How realistic is this? So I'm going to go back to that slide so as to kind of, explain how I was able to kind of, rationalize it in my own mind. And the way I rationalized it is, if we're already doing 16 to 18%, right, and we know the trajectory that the usage of the ICT and the digital economy is growing, and we have a trend over a period of time, I would say that getting to 21% is realistic. And that's the pro rata of the 21% based on what you're already doing between 16 to 18% translates to the 18.3 billion. And it's a no-brainer because everybody is going digital literacy now. I mean, they are digital. If you look at it, people don't really go to the bank to collect money anymore. Everybody goes through the POS. When you're traveling on the road, you have access to the network almost everywhere, except if it's in the bush and there's nothing. But if you travel from Lagos all the way to Abuja, where they have settlements, the network would be working. If you see a market by the roadside and you need money, you get your money through the POS. So you don't have to go to the bank to get the money. And it is possible because we now have the service providers, both the infrastructure as well as the application. Particularly the infrastructure, there's no village where you wouldn't see a POS service. And all of this would translate to the growth of the economy through digital economy. And that's my own assumption. I think it's possible. I know we're pushing the envelope to the limit, but I strongly believe it's possible. But again, as a nation, we have to really push ourselves to be able to achieve some of these things. So that would be my own explanation to that. I believe other people might have some things here and there, but I believe it's doable. The second point is what are the efforts that have been put in place to be able to achieve some of the things. I've personally experienced where the Ministry of Communication and Innovation, Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, they are really pushing competitions amongst youth, and they are providing the incentives for them to work on it. For example, in the past 3 years, they've been doing the National ICT Girls Competition, and they're not just staying in Abuja or Lagos, they are actually going all over the country to improve on the literacy level of the people. And I know I mentioned the Bureau of Public Service Reforms that is ongoing. They're building it solely on digital literacy. And these are the areas, the avenues where the effort is being put in place, including the incentives being provided to the infrastructure providers, as well as reducing the cost of having access to data in the country. So there are quite a lot of things going on, and I believe there's a lot of we should actually give many thanks to the government. But again, PEEF as an organization, as an NGO, has a major role to play in stepping in and helping to fine-tune the policy, fine-tuning the strategies, as well as getting into the pillars, and even providing training or across board for like secondary school children. And these are the areas where I believe a lot of more effort will be required to move forward. I hope I've been able to answer your questions, Prof.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. And I don't want to dominate the question and answer. At this point, I put in the chat room to ask you if you have a question or comment, please post to the chat room or raise your virtual hand so I can recognize you for your question directly. Are there any questions from the participants before I ask my next question? I see somebody. Okay, I'm going to be reading this from Engineer Amuda. Sorry. Yes. And your question is, please, how do we ensure privacy violations are being prevented and regulated and punished the offenders?
Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. Miftah Amuda, for this question. It is really, really a big problem, and it's all around cybersecurity issues as well as data privacy. But one of the great things that we've done in Nigeria is by setting up the Nigeria Data Protection Agency through the Act. And they're very, 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 very active. In fact, for you to set up anything that has, that will be collecting data, people data, you have to have the approval from the Nigeria Data Protection Agency for this. All the banks, they've actually had to get the approval from them, as well as getting the approval for all their service providers. So you cannot just say, I want to have access to your data and sit down there. You have to have the approval from the Nigeria Data Protection Agency, and they've got the act in place. So that's one way of doing that. Then on top of it, for example, I'm aware that CBN is also very strong when it comes to cybersecurity. So there's a self-assessment that is being carried out for all the banks every year, and they have to submit that self-assessment. Apart from submitting the self-assessment, they also have, they've got the consultants that would verify that what they're submitting is correct. So with this, it's really using it to protect the privacy of individuals within Nigeria. This is very similar to what you see in the European General Data Protection in Europe as well as in the US through the NIST, as well as in Canada, where you have the thing around data protection for healthcare industry, for financial industry, and for all the other industries as well. So for healthcare, yes, it's a must. For financial industries, it's a must, and for all the other people gathering data, it's a must. And that's what's going on. Again, can they do more? Yes. Can PEEF help? Yes. We have to now see how we can all participate in this. But thank you very much. It's a very great question because now we're talking about transparency of gathering data. We also need to know how to protect our people from gathering data, right from the data you provide through immigration services to the ones that you provide to customs when you want to renew your passport, for example, and all the other agencies as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Olatinwo. The next question from Kazim says, beautiful presentation, Dr. Olatinwo. What is your take on the jackpot syndrome, largely prevalent in the ICT sector, considering on one hand, the brain drain, and on the other hand, remittance of funds? And I must say, before you answer that question, just last week, I partook in a conference at LASU on jackpot syndrome.
Thank you so much, Kazim, and for just to make it clear, Kazim is my brother, my great brother. So thank you so much for this question. And jackpot and it works both ways. It's not really bad for Nigeria. It's good. The initial thing is it erodes the brain. It does the brain drain. But most people still come back. I mentioned in the presentation, Flutterwave, Nigerians, they went to the US, went to Harvard, met people, they brought the thing back to Nigeria. Now Flutterwave is, although it's registered both in Nigeria and the US, but we all know that the brains, Flutterwave, they are Nigerians, and they're getting foreign money. So that's one way of foreign investment into the country, or even technology through the back door with our people. I talked about one of the startups from Harmony Innovation Hub, now in Canada, using the startup visa entry. They're going to go there and they bring the knowledge and the funding back to Nigeria. So there's a mixture between them. For startups, I do not have any problem. It's just for people that go and stay put that may constitute a problem. But again, we have a honorable moderator, Professor Oladipo. I know all the good things that you brought back to Nigeria. So it's all for good for us. And I must say that the remittances coming back home are great. Also, the knowledge they're bringing back home, great. And also the people going, the image they're providing over there for Nigerians is even much better because they know these are serious people. They are contributing to the societies where they're going to, and they're going to bring things back home. So for me, I think it's great for us. Jackpot is not a bad thing at all, particularly from the elites, the people that are really doing great things in the digital economy world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. I have another question from Princess Dorothy Ebo. Her question is, how are we currently evaluating our school curricula to ensure our youth are adequately prepared to maximize the opportunities presented by the new digital revolution?
This is actually a great question. So this is an area of challenge for us for now. For example, when in the US, when things were evolving around the digital economy, they started these STEM programs in their schools, right? So right from school, you have the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they focused a lot on those things in their schools. And they embedded technology into their programs. They got the companies to start getting students to do co-op in their institutions, and they were taking them right from graduation into their workshops to work. Nigeria, we have to get to that point. but we're not there yet. This is an area where PEEF can play a role. You know, in one of the slides, I'm going to go back to that just to showcase, what I was trying to explain, where we've got the pyramid. So this pyramid, as I'm showing on the screen now, and that's why I emboldened the quality of junior secondary school and juniors and senior secondary school education focused on digital skills and STEM. We need to find a way of embedding this very clearly into the curriculum of our schools. Otherwise, the students will come out of school and they will have to go over and start learning ICT and the digital economy principles. And it may be too late, or they do it in a kind of fashion that would not be efficient and effective. But it's something that we have to do. Can PEEF play a major role here? Yes, this is an area where PEEF can really help and see how to move things forward. I know the innovation hubs are trying to do that, but can they do it alone? Are they too much profit? Maybe. So maybe this is an area where PEEF can really step and help. Can we work with the government, Ministry of Education, or Ministry, or the whoever? I think we need to do this, and I think that's my answer to that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I have another question from Engineer Dr. Amuda. Please, what are your views on OBEX market failure? How are the startups protected from such incidents in the future?
Well, another great question. So my personal view about this is I believe like organizations like CBEX should be well regulated, and if there is no if they are not properly registered, then they shouldn't be allowed to operate. Again, it comes back to the knowledge of the people. Has this ever happened before? Yes, it was even happening before the digital economy. Now they're using ICT to even make it at a larger scale. And this is something that we have to be mindful of. Number two things there, the education of the people and in the regulators to step in very quickly, not just watching and seeing whether it's going to work or not. The moment you see that they are not registered, they should be taken out of the market completely. Then again, do we have very robust cybersecurity tools in place? I would say yes, we have to build those things so that we can monitor the activities of such people. Even if they're going to defraud the system, people will be able to follow them and track them wherever they go to and get the money back, or even punish them in some cases. So I believe that three things there: regulatory harm, the level of the people or the knowledge of the people, greediness in some cases, and the third one is the active monitoring of such to ensure that they do not take advantage of people that do not have the knowledge. Yeah.
Thank you. I have almost a similar question from Mr. Ibrahim Bello. And this question is on the negative aspect of increase in IT usage in Nigeria, which is the increase in online frauds, especially in the finance industry, the banking sector, where so many Nigerians are defrauded of their money every day. And it's even alleged that many Nigerian banks have lost funds through online fraud. What measures can be put in place to minimize this rising force in the cyber world? Like I say, it's almost similar to the last question. Answer.
Yes, it's similar, but even different. Similar in the sense that they like all defrauding the poor people, but different in the sense that CyberX was not really like regulated in Nigeria, whereas the banks are heavily regulated by CBN. And in my previous talk, I mentioned about the ongoing regular examination from the banks, from CBN to the banks. And so CBN heavily examines them from time to time. And also they monitor them in terms of the cybersecurity. And it's well known that you cannot have a bank without a chief information security officer. who is responsible for checking all of these on a daily basis. To a reasonable extent, even when they are defrauded, they know the people that have done it and they're able to maybe recover. Or in some cases, they still lose money, particularly for the, I would say, the customers. But again, these are things that are still working in progress. I know CDN is doing a lot, but a lot more needs to be done to ensure that we minimize the fraudulent nature of some of the employees towards the banks as well as the customers of the banks. Yeah. But again, it's one side. Yeah.
I was waiting for another question from the audience, but while I'm waiting, let me ask my question. So my next question is on, are there specific examples of regulation that are helping or hindering growth? What are the policy recommendations being discussed?
Okay. So when it comes to the growth, some of the policies that are really helping, I would say just signed into law the Nigerian Startup Act. So the act is supposed to help for startups to be able to tap into opportunities, funding on one hand, and also to regulate startups that are coming out of Nigeria so they don't use it to defraud the system. So you know that you're going to get the support of the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation, and Digital Economy. You know you're going to get the support of NITDA, National IT Development Agency, and they take some of the top startups to conferences. They take them to GITEX, which is the Gulf IT Exchange Program. They go to the ITU, that's International Telecoms Unit conferences, and they groom. Like personally, I know more than 50 of such startups that the government has supported for growth. Even the organizations like Flutterwave and the likes, they gain a lot of support for them to grow. So we shouldn't take that one away from the government. So the government is actively supporting the startups. Now, your question about really hindering them from moving forward, I think it's to do more with the maybe awareness and the knowledge of the people that, which is limiting the growth. And that's where the digital literacy thing comes in. You might say maybe the policy doesn't help, but the policy is there to protect as well. So I would say digital literacy is a major hindrance, and where we're starting from, we need to get it right. And that goes back to, going back to the very grassroots. That's the secondary school level, even primary school, introducing some of these things into what people are doing now. Even in the universities, when you talk about things like STEM, they still struggle. People are beginning to catch up on some of the things now, but initially, you have to go through a lot of hurdles to make things work. So if the government can really step down into that, look at the curriculum, work more with the people, go into the public sector, train them more, provide them with the tools and services, then this is going to improve, the way we're doing things. Yeah.
Awesome. Participants, please, if you have questions, let's hear them now. But while we're waiting, I have to one more question.
Okay, sir.
My last question on this topic is about inclusivity. Does the discussion thus far touch upon ensuring technology empowerment, which is all segments of the society, not just the urban centers or specific demographics?
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Prof. Now, when you talk about inclusivity, that means we're looking at the aspect where we have network access in the rural areas. It's a very tall order, but I'll make an attempt to explain. Now, I know for sure in the last 5 to, I would say, 6 years, the government has been laying the fiber cable across the nation. I know the telecoms companies, they've been providing masts all over. And if you go to some of the villages along the road, they have access to the internet. But again, the downside is with the construction of roads and other things, they've been breaking some of these fiber optics. So I manage an innovation hub in my hometown, and we laid about 2 kilometers of fiber optics in 2 different directions. So we had 2 broadbands going to that hub. One was energized, and the second one was not, because it was just going to be like a backup. Now, very good thing they gave us, they trying to reconstruct the road, about 43 kilometers road connecting 2 major cities. The first thing those guys did was just to clear everything, and every day they were breaking the cables, and we told the contractors so many times that we got tired. So we only got to know because the one that was energized was also broken, and they were fixing that one on a daily basis until they now ran the cable through another means, a temporary measure, because we were using it. The second one that was not energized, it's totally broken, that you cannot even place, there was no trace that anything was done there. So now imagine they've been doing that to all the rural areas, and they've been broken, and nobody is able to do anything because they're not even aware. That's one of the challenges we are having now, because we're still going through development. We're not there yet, but we're not helping ourselves because we're damaging things without even knowing we're damaging those things. And these are some of the challenges we have. So it's all up to us. The government is trying their best, everybody is trying their best, but some other people are not even aware. So it boils down to the education, to the level of awareness, to the training and other things. So how to solve this problem? Honestly, I don't know. I've been thinking about it yet. So it's something that we have to crack.
Awesome. Thank you. My fellow comrades, please.
There's a question. There's a question, I believe.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. That's from
Mr. Yes. Okay.
And he said he apologizes if this question has already been addressed earlier. Okay, thank you. What is your view on the adoption and exploitation of AI in Nigeria, given our unfortunate penchant for negative utilization of technology? Are there any regulatory or institutional safeguards that the government should be considering at this time?
Okay. So this is, again, some of the unknowns in the digital economy world. Now, I look at AI from 2 perspectives. One of them is using AI to do your research as a research fellow. And personally, I've gained a lot from it. Some of the research I did when I was doing my PhD, I used AI in a positive way to get very rich and robust, literature review. And again, you can also use it to get more information about Nigerian economy. Even during the course of putting this together, the presentation, I used a bit of AI. And one of the things that Prof, which you helped me to do, Professor Olatinwo, you used the podcast, AI podcast, which you just read through my presentation and was making a presentation on my behalf. Again, very positive, very powerful, and I liked it. The analogy they would use, even over and above what you would think about. That's what we should be looking at for AI. But on the downside, the negative utilization of technology, there's no way you can really run away from it. But again, it's going to be the regulatory arm. And that's going to be one of the things we need to consider when we're talking about the 8 pillars of digital economy. How do we ensure that we're able to overcome the cons, the negative side of it? So I'm going to go back to the slide that kind of talked about it briefly, where we talked about maybe privacy issue and potential environmental cost and the likes. So this is an area where we can add one more thing about, okay, what are the main issues in terms of what we see, particularly the new emerging technologies. And I think we even looked at some of the, if you look at to the right side of these emerging technologies, These are the areas where we've got major problems. Cybersecurity, we talked about it. Artificial intelligence, that if people use it the wrong way. Deep fake, we talked about that as well. So again, the regulators need that. Nigeria Data Protection Agency, Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, and all the likes. We need to sit down more and work more closely together on this. Again, this is where PEEF and other well-meaning Nigerians can really help to identify the weak areas that we need to strengthen, to work together with the government, so that we don't fall prey of people using the technology negatively. Thank you very much for the question, sir. I really appreciate it. My big brother.
Thank you. So let me just make a quick comment to that AI question and your answer, sir, if I may. Because
go ahead, sir.
I'm passionate about AI tools. Too often we look at AI on the negative side. And I always make the analogy to nuclear bomb. In the days of the nuclear bomb, we talk about the mushroom cloud, things that can kill everyone in a second. But today, that same technology is being used for power generation. So there's always the pros and the cons, is how you use it. As we remember, when I was growing up, there was an issue with graphing calculators. You will not be allowed to use graphing calculators in an exam. But today, that's old news. But if you look at AI from the perspective of being a partner, a co-pilot, a teacher, you can learn a whole lot. I'm not saying there's no negative side like cheating, but cheating has always been there. They're just using different tools. And like Dr. Olatinwo said, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back. AI is here to stay. So it's up to us to find out how do we use it for good of mankind and for ourselves. So thank you. I do have another question. If there's none from my colleagues on the forum, unless there's one, I'll ask this one more question. So here's my question. We've talked about the role of PEEF in advancing IT technology, and government is doing its part. How much is the unicorns, the tech unicorns, actually doing right now to partner with government and with local citizens to fill the gap with all this money that they're making? How can they partner with government to make sure we have the right infrastructure? When I hear billions of dollars, that's a lot of money in anybody's language. Do you have any idea, sir?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Prof, for that question. I can only answer this question with, I would say, an example of what I've seen personally. And I'm going to use the example of IHS. Although IHS is not a unicorn, but it's one of the companies that is providing infrastructure services to the telecoms companies in Nigeria. And they partner with the state government, providing their CSR, in terms of the network to some communities. We've actually gained from it personally. I talked about fiber optics that was not energized. IHS provided it to the hub of my community. And so that's one. Then the other thing is job creation. So the creation of jobs for Nigerians is growing, particularly people that have the technology background. In fact, a lot of people that did not have the background were able to get into the space, and they built their skills through these unicorns as well. And the fact that it brings confidence in the people to say, we can do it. If you can do it, then I can do it. That's something great. And they all have their CSRs that they're contributing in no small measures to different organizations. So for me, I believe they're bringing things back. They're bringing both the empowerment, bringing back the confidence level, bringing money into the economy, and also doing a lot around CSRs for companies and for organizations, for communities in the country, in partnership with the government. So most of the times, when we have, the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy going somewhere, they go with the minister. And remember, the minister also came from that background, and that's something that we have to bear in mind. So the minister, very youthful, and he was one of the unicorns that Nigeria produced, and now he's the minister. So he's rallying around all of them and bringing them back to the table to help Nigeria, which is great. Yeah, thank you for so much for that question, Prof.
Thank you. At this point, I want to thank everyone for participating and being even further energized to go forward and advance IT in Nigeria, and especially PEEF and your role has been described very aptly by Dr. Olatinwo. So let's go conquer the world. So let me round up by handing over to Executive Secretary Musa Rabiu to close us out.
Thank you so much, Professor Olatinwo, for sharing this exciting knowledge enriched session of PEEF virtual talk. As I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure that our participants have also enjoyed the session, and that has been reflected in the interaction in terms of the questions that have been asked and the responses given. As I did promise you, Professor Olatinwo, we have the tradition of giving our chairman, board of trustees, the opportunity to say something at the beginning of the session. However, as I indicated, he's not able to join us. However, we have another founding member of the foundation, Engineer Alhaji Moshood Yusuf, who we have relied on to also stand in for him and make some remarks. So, Alhaji Moshood, could you do the usual? You need to make some remarks on behalf of Alhaji Abdullah Bukar. If you are there, I know you are.
Yeah, I'm around. Thank you very much, Dr. Musa Rabiu.
Maybe put on your camera as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will.
If it's convenient.
Very convenient. I put the camera on now, the video on now.
Yes.
Let me just say thank you so much, first of all, to Dr. Musa Rabiu for organizing this knowledge sharing opportunities. I have personally enjoyed this, and IT, as we know, is the future of the world, I can say, as Dr. Olatunwo said. I want to thank you people I want to thank him for this great presentation. The problem I have is that in our environment where because of the poverty or lack of education or development, citizens don't look after opportunity or after our utilities. If I remember when they were laying railway lines, if citizens were cutting off the railway lines and selling them, in the market. The future, as I said, if we are going to lay cables about 90,000 kilometers or 180,000, how do we guarantee that will be will be secured by the citizens? All right, but we hope that with enlightenment and education, we will be able to get there, and our something will not be destroyed or stolen. All right. So I want to say thank you very much for the presentation. It's very enlightening for me, and I'm looking forward to benefiting from it as much as possible, since the future of the world, IT is going to drive the future of the world. Thank you so very much, and thanks to the moderator, Professor Adebisi Oladipupo. I hope I got it right. Thank you, and have a wonderful stay in the US. I am holidaying here too, and I'll soon go back to Nigeria anyway. So thank you, and God bless you for the presentation and for the moderation also. And to our executive secretary, we will thank you so much for organizing these opportunities for us to learn from. And I look forward to your usual drive to share and meet the government or functionaries for implementation of the recommendations. May Almighty God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate your remarks. So I have 4 things to do to formally bring this to a close. The first one is to talk about our action plan, because we say PEEF is not just talk. What are we going to do after the talk? So I will talk about that. Second one is, of course, we're going to write a report, as we normally do, to the respective ministry concerned. The third one is, of course, what are we currently doing in PEEF that is related to the issues we have discussed this evening. And finally, to thank you. So on the first one, the guest speaker did rightly say we need to do something as PEEF, particularly with Bureau for Public Service Reforms, which is like the transformative agency at the federal government level. This shouldn't be a problem for PEEF. The current DG is somebody I've known for close to 15 years. When I was the registrar of CIPM, Charter of Personnel Management, I actually did some work with them on performance management, moving them away from APA system, which they are still struggling with. And the DG then was it was there, but not at this level. So we can use that personal relationship to do something. But what I will need, because PEEF, we comprise of volunteers, experts that are just volunteering. They have their own 9 to 5 work to do. I will need volunteers to help us put an action plan together on this, all right? Because we have experts. And I know our guest speaker is one of such subject matter experts, as we have seen today. He also, PhD, and our moderator is also an expert, Doctor of Science, Professor. All right, so we have the experts now. So what I will request is if our guest speaker could be our lead on this, just drafting an action plan that we can run by, Bureau for Public Service Reforms. I know the DG personally, but we need to have something that we can say, we have talked, but here is an action plan that we will have to discuss with the DG, Bureau for Public Service Reforms, and he can give us a guide on how to go about it, how to come in, and so on and so forth. So I hope our guest speaker, who is a founding member, and of course is the Director of Finance and Administration of PEEF, is really one of us, will lead us, and our moderator, Professor, will also support him as he has always been doing. So that's the first part on what are we going to do after today's talk. The second part has to do with writing a report. So this session has been recorded, so we're going to have both video recording as well as textual recording, and we'll prepare a report which will again run by the speaker and the moderator to be sure we are not missing anything or confusing any issues. And that report will be formally presented to the Honorable Minister of Communication, Information and Digital Economy. We normally do that. We have always done that since we started. For information and for support, because in that report we also indicate what PEEF plans to do and possible area for partnership, collaboration with the ministry. So that's the second bit. The third bit has to do with what are we doing now at PEEF. As I said, we are a volunteer organization, but we have activities that we are running. One of them is, please, could you mute your mic? Okay, thank you. One of the things we are doing now, we have an ad hoc committee on Almajiri school system. And the committee has been mandated to review the current Almajiri school system and suggest how we can infuse into it skills acquisition, so that while they learn Quran and other Islamic branches of Islamic knowledge, they can also learn a skill. And one of our members has just completed a World Bank project on welding skills training. So we have a virtual reality technology available for welding training, which we would like to adopt for the Almajiri school children. However, we have a concept note. We need to talk about how to do the selection, but also more importantly, who is going to fund it, because there's cost involved. And as a foundation, we have to go out to go and look for sponsors. So that's an area that we relate to this issue of technology, because we're talking of virtual reality, technology being applied to welding skills acquisition. The other things we're doing, just for general information, is we are also organizing fund, raising activity in September through a walkathon program in Abuja. Again, this is to enable us to fund our activities because without the funds, we can't run some of these good ideas that we have. We also have a program on palliative, on healthcare for the terminally ill persons, particularly the aged. Again, we're looking for sponsors. We have a target program for Katsina State Government, for Kano State Government. We're also looking at FCT, but we need sponsors, all right, because the programs are going to be put together by experts in the respective areas, so medical doctors who are members of PEEF, but it will cost money and we need sponsors. The other one that is just for information is we recently issued a policy brief on mental health, which has been delivered to the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Services for information and for necessary actions in the key areas of our recommendations. And that came out of our conference in 2024. Now, finally, we are also launching PEEF newsletter this month, which will feature the things we are doing in the area of knowledge management, knowledge sharing, but also indicating our 3-year strategic plan on what we intend to cover and make a difference in the quality of human capital development in Nigeria and by extension, Africa as a whole. So those are the highlights of the things we are doing, some of which will impact the topic of our discussion today. And finally, the thank you bit. I cannot thank you enough, our guest speaker. When I indicated to you that we would like to have you on this platform a few months ago, I think you didn't hesitate to say yes. And you took it up, and now you have delivered. So we really thank you for your knowledge, for the time you have put into doing this for us and for Nigeria as a whole. The moderator, Professor, when are you coming back again? It is only here you can get the amala and the shaki, you can't get it over there in Virginia.
You're right. It's different back home. Even if you can get it here, it's not the same.
It's not the same, and the ambience is not the same. So we really appreciate you for bringing the excellent, facilitation skill into this. Thank you so much. And to our participants who have been with us, we recorded 41 persons on the Zoom registration platform. And we have had about 21 staying through till the end. So we really thank you so much for making this very interactive and beneficial. Thank you so much. What we normally do to close is to request gently that we all put on our camera so that we can take a screenshot. How about that? And put all smiling faces, starting with our guest speaker.
Thanks so much. We really appreciate.
I'm waiting. Everybody put on your this so that I can screenshot. Some people are not there yet. Thank you. I'm waiting. A few people are not on. Please just put it on so that we can do it quickly.
Thank you, Dr. Olatinwo. We really appreciate.
Okay, so I'm going to do it. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, thank you so much. I have it now, and we can use a few minutes before we close the shop just to socialize. Feel free to chat across. Dr. Amuda,
Yeah, really
you have
appreciate.
started it, so go ahead.
Yes, I say, Dr. Olatinwo, we really appreciate your contribution. Thanks so much. And our prof, we really appreciate you. Our prof is talking from which country, sir?
From USA.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Philomena. I put a link on the chat box. I listened to what the PEEF person was talking about, asking for donor or whatever assistance. So this is the link I put up there. They're asking for submission for people who need some kind of consideration for assistance for in education. Same as craft you're talking about. So maybe you want to look at it, see if it will solve the problem you are presenting. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. You said you put something on the, is it the chat?
Yes, it's the African Union proposal, grant proposal.
Where is it? Let me see.
It is due on Monday.
Okay, Philomena, yeah, I've seen it. I will copy. Philomena, I also did say if you need a copy of the presentation, send an email to es@peef.ng. I'm not sure. I've
done that. I've done that already.
Okay, please do that because I can see it immediately. Anybody who needs a copy, please do that so that I have your email. I can then send immediately after this session. So just send, and I'll get it because I'm looking at my email now to see who I sent. I've seen from Tajuddin, from Phil, Philomena, and Yahu. Only 2 I've received. For those who are interested, please.
There's also Dorothy Hebo.
Yeah. Okay, if you have sent it, will come. I'll see it. Philomena, did you send also this link to my email, to the ES email?
No, it's on the chat box. So you can just pick it from there.
I can see it. That's what I'm trying to copy. I was just asking. Okay, fine, no problem. Thank you. So the session is over. We can just socialize for the next few minutes and then we'll close this.
Yeah, and again, just want to congratulate Dr. Olatinwo. We used to work together as Shell. Congratulations on the presentation. Well done.
Thank you.
I just want to congratulate Dr. Olatinwo as well and to greet our prof all the way from the US. It was really a good moderation. Thank you very much. And finally, Dr. Musa Rabiu, it has always been a pleasure being able to attend the PEEF presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. Thank you. Let me know when you'll be ready to share your knowledge with us on education.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm sure you do better than some of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, Dr. Musa Rabiu, do you want us to send you our request for the presentation package? Over?
No, okay. By saying it, I know you need it. I will send it. What I didn't want is to send to people who may not need it.
No problem. Thank you.
I've already posted my email, so.
Okay, you get it. Don't worry. Inshallah, you get it. No problem.
And happy Hijrah 1447.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. May this year be blessed more than the previous years for us.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Our country
Happy
and the world
Hijrah
as a whole.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank
you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. So in the next few minutes, I will shut it down. So you can just carry on for the next 2 minutes.
Dr. Olatinwo. Is doctor still on?
Yes,
He's on mute. He's on mute, I think.
Okay.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I can hear you, Dr. Amda.
Yeah, the Harmony Innovation Hub. Are we having it in Ibadan or Lagos?
So Harmony is in Abuja, but there's one innovation hub of our community that I also have to manage, which is in Okada. But Professor Olatinwo is managing the innovation hub in Ogbomoso for them now.
Yeah, so we're starting the Ogbomoso as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of our
Ogbomoso is closer by, and Ofa is also close anyway. So hopefully, but I think we have one in Lagos.
Yes, they have many innovation hubs in Lagos. Yes, there are quite a number in Lagos. But if you're looking for the one owned by the community, then Ogbomoso has one, Ofa has one.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much. We will try and key into any one of them.
Yes, if you want us to come to Ibadan, we can always come and work together on it.
All right, okay. We'll get back to you later.
All right, Dr. Amda.
Greet the family for us.
Thank you very much, Ajia, for joining me. Okay, and I can see my big brother there, Alaji. No, thank you for joining, sir. And also my big auntie, Ajia Mujoin. Thank you very much for joining me. And Jasper, is that Jasper? Jasper? There I can see my big sister too, Hajia Nuhu. Thank you for joining me. Okay. Okay, Dr. Amda, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Okay.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, PEEF.
Thank you very much, Prof. Really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Well, a job well done.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Musarabi, I think we're done.
No, we're done. This is just alarm for any social interaction.
Okay.
We're done now. If that's it, I will just shut it down if everybody's okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the presentation, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Alaji. Really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Amen, sir. Yes.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. So I'm closing it down now. Okay.
All right, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.